about 7 months ago, I started thinking about creating a project. And I was kind of in a time of life where I had no project at hand. I just kind of moved to a new neighborhood and on my own, and I kind of wanted something to hold on to be a kickstart to more projects. And the time I would just be walking around the neighborhood that I just moved to and kind of examining and thinking and all that stuff. And I was watching French New Waves and earlier films from some great directors, and I would study and see what were they doing with their early films, their early short films, and they were experimenting one, but they were experimenting with environment and relationships and nature and the nature of man. And I thought, well, what is the nature of man? And the nature of man is to survive and to have longevity. And then I thought, if that's the case, why in my neighborhood everything around me was full of garbage, streets was full of garbage, cars broken down, drug deals happening, gunshots, you hear police sirens constantly. Why is this our nature of survival, and how did we get here? And I didn't come up with an answer other that we forgot who we were. We forgot what it meant to be a human, to give back to our land that is giving us survival. And I thought maybe I need to show people where they're living and what they're doing to themselves, and not in exploiting them, but into kind of documenting them in a way, and documenting us, and documenting the filth we live in, and kind of hoping that when people would see this, they would think, wow, this kid made a movie that shows us where we live. We need to make a change. And so I hit up my friend Miguel from film school, and we connected. And I told him I had this idea of showing where we live, and he's a Bronx resident as well. Where we live, where we come from, survival, and just kind of representing the essence of human nature, or what I believe is, at the moment is the essence of human nature. And I showed him locations that I thought would be appropriate, and we kind of construct a story in where the environment was the character, just as there's a villain who, played by Blair, who needs to survive on his own, and he robs, he steals, or he deals drugs, and this is his way of survival. Just how later on we have a woman who is the hope in this neighborhood. In this neighborhood, she works for her money, and she's strong and courageous, and that's her way of survival. And how the planet has its own way of survival. Even though there's garbage and filth everywhere, things will get cleaned up if we are aware and if we give back. And Miguel loved this idea, and we sat down and we hashed out the story for 2 weeks, but it was more of a blueprint of locations we wanted to shoot, and kind of actions to represent a villain and to represent the hope that there is a possibility for change. And so we wrote, and I wrote, and we pitched back and forth, and I called Blair, a friend of mine, and I called Jessica and asked them if they'll play roles then to be part of this idea, and they were down for it. And we had a great time. We rehearsed, we grew the story together, we talked about character development. It was just magnificent. And I went to post-production, and I sat with Julia. We had a great time editing and constructing the story there, and kind of figuring out what we would want to do and how we would want to present this story. And we would sit and watch movies and talk about how Godard sound effects would affect the image, and how the juxtaposition of two images can give a feeling. And we kind of took a while to come up with presenting. It took a while to come up with a way to present Welcome Home, and I think we finally did it in a way that people could see that even if there is a villain, he's not that bad. Even if there's something is bad, there is a hope, and there is something we can do if we're aware, if we look and we make the change. And I mean, although I did a majority of the work, I acted, I edited, I did sound, I wrote, and I did nights and nights of endless work for 6-7 minutes. It was something that I needed to do. It was it was the best starting point and a great accomplishment for myself as a filmmaker. And I just feel like you guys need to watch it, and you guys need to see it and feel it, and then walk outside your neighborhood and see the filth that's there. And you see it, don't be part of it by throwing it. Don't be part. Don't be part of the filth. Make the change. And you don't want to say, "Oh, welcome to my house," and it's dirty. When people come to your home, your apartment or your house, you clean it and you have it look nice because you don't want people to judge you a certain way, right? So why should your environment be the same? Why should we have an environment that pushes and corrupts people, you know, and that is full of filth? Well, we continue it. It's like the broken window there. We see graffiti, we put more graffiti, and we see filthy. We drop filth on top of filth on top of filth. And how about we be the change, like Gandhi said, be the change you wish to see in the world. And why can't we be that change? And I hope Welcome Home will do that for you. I hope Welcome Home will encourage you to be that change and to see the world how it is. That we shouldn't, a tree pit shouldn't be filled 3-4 feet with garbage, because that's our air we're breathing. And if it's like this now, imagine 20, 30 years how our children will feel, you know what I mean? Or how they will live. They'll probably have asthma and be fat and gross, and we don't want that. We want a better society. We're aware, we think we're with our technologies, we think we're great and shit. So let's make the change. And Welcome Home is a representation of our time right now, of where we are and how we think and how we should be thinking. Anyway, watch the movie. Have any questions, contact us. See you on the next one.